1511, contact Wind Tower 126.8, good night.
Runway 68, Cal 1511, good night. Runway Tower Cal 1511 is 11 miles out, runway 19 right.
Channel 1511, John Wayne Tower, wind 19010, runway 19 right, for the land.
Land 19 right, Channel 1511.
Cessna 202, 10,000, 134.35, good night.
13435, 202.
Hello Captains, and welcome to this X-Plane 10 video. This is part 2 of the guide to X-Plane 10. In part 1 we covered the basics of setting up X-Plane, and in part 2, as promised, we are going to be looking at the different payload aircrafts that X-Plane has to offer. Now a quick note on the video. This is a non-exhaustive list of payload aircraft, so I'm not going to be looking at all the aircrafts that are available for X-Plane 10, but those that I think worthy of looking at, and the ones that I personally like. Also, the order in which we are going to be looking at these aircrafts has nothing to do with my favorite aircraft, and this is not the top 10 review. So we are going to be randomly looking at these aircrafts. So, let's take a look at this beautiful aircraft, which is the Airbus A320 by JARDesign. Now, JARDesign really is the authority when it comes to Airbus for X-Plane. There are other companies that do that has the Airbus A320. I know one is the one by Peter Hager, which is, in terms of its textures, I think it's a very well done plane, but it comes nowhere close to this beautiful aircraft by JARDesign. Let's go ahead and look at the 3D cockpit. Again, it's very nicely modeled. It's got high resolution textures, and it's a real joy to fly. Staying with Airbus and JARDesign, the A330 Airbus is a magnificent aircraft that was developed also by JARDesign. This aircraft is a real joy to fly. It gives you a very realistic look, and as you can see, the 3D cockpit is very detailed. It's got high resolution textures. It looks very nice. There's a lot of work that has gone into this aircraft. This particular aircraft I highly recommend if you like Airbus. It's going to really add a lot to your experience in X-Plane. Of course, the outside model is just as good as the inside, and there are quite a bit of liveries that you can download for this beautiful aircraft. This is not the only A330 for X-Plane. There is another Airbus A330 by RWDesign, which I will provide you with the link in the description section. But in my opinion, this is the best A330 for X-Plane. And staying with Airbus, Flight Factory has developed the Airbus A350. Now this aircraft is an impeccable replica of the real A350 in terms of how it looks, the textures, the amount of work that has gone into the artwork of this aircraft is absolutely incredible. The wing flex, I think, is something that you will really come to appreciate in this aircraft. The only thing I do not like about this aircraft is the FMC. The FMC is not entirely modeled, so I highly recommend that if you want to basically try out the A350 by Flight Factor, that you get XFMC, which is of course available for free. But it's a real joy to fly this aircraft. I think you will really, if you're an Airbus person, you will definitely appreciate the really the looks of this aircraft. I think the experience that you get out of this aircraft is really unmatched, and you will have a lot of fun flying this airplane in X-plane. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 3D cockpit. As you can see, the 3D cockpit looks it's not as as highly detailed as I would like. It is, however, a decent looking 3D cockpit. As you can see, the textures here are not high resolution textures, but the work that has gone into this is quite good, and it takes quite a bit to learn the systems of this aircraft. It's quite detailed in terms of the system simulation, but the FMC, unfortunately, is really needs a rework. It needs really an update. So we're hoping, well, I'm hoping that maybe we will get updates for this aircraft soon. Okay. Moving from Airbus to Boeing's, this is the 727. And let me tell you that this aircraft is probably the best 727 available for any simulation platform. It's incredibly realistic in terms of its flight model. The textures, both inside and outside, look very, very decent. And let me tell you, the sound of this aircraft sounds very, very real. Probably the best engine sounds on an aircraft for a simulation platform. Let's go ahead and look at the 3D cockpit. As you can see, the 3D, let me disable X camera. The 3D cockpit is very detailed. It's got high resolution textures, and even the sounds inside the cockpit are very nice. This aircraft is a lot of fun to fly. You can definitely buy the INS, which is the inertial navigation system, if you wish, which helps you basically navigate from one point to other. It's basically the old-fashioned FMC, if you will. But it's a beautiful aircraft. It's highly detailed, and it's developed by FlyJSim.
Tower, Cactus 660, outside Louisville for net guide.
Cactus 668, showing target easing wind 18012, runway 1 on the right, clear to land.
Excellent, 1 in, right, Cactus 668.
That's 3.5 miles southbound.
Staying with FlyJSim and Boeing, the 737-200 is an absolutely marvelous aircraft for X-plane. It is very realistic. It's got a very highly detailed 3D cockpit, and the exterior model is absolutely wonderful. There are a lot of liveries that you can buy for this aircraft, but the ones that ship out of the box are just enough for you to enjoy this aircraft. Let's go ahead and jump into the 3D cockpit. As you can see, the 3D cockpit again has this old look into it. It's very highly detailed, and it looks absolutely fantastic in terms of its model. Look at the overhead panel. Here, let me zoom out here, and the overhead panel is absolutely gorgeous. It looks very, very similar to the real aircraft. This is actually, in my opinion, the best modeling of an overhead panel for a 737 in any flight simulator. It's got custom sounds, so this aircraft has got custom sounds, and they are actually also very high quality sounds, as well as the exterior sounds. Interior and exterior are actually very, very good. As you can see, even the knobs here, the reflection on the buttons, looks absolutely gorgeous. So let me click here on a. See that? That just sounds really nice. There you go. And where's the APU, for example? You can start it. As you can see, this is an aircraft that will grow on you with time, and it is fantastic. It also, you can purchase the SIVA INS for this aircraft, which works perfectly, but it's a lot more fun to fly it using VOR navigation. I do have a video on VOR navigation. It's a short tutorial which basically features the 737-200 by FlyJSim. Okay. Moving from the 737 to one of the world's most advanced aircrafts, the Boeing 777-200 by Flight Factor. This is actually the very first aircraft I purchased for xplane. It is absolutely a joy to fly, and both the interior and exterior models are fantastic. As you can see, the wings here have been modeled to perfection, and the wing flex on this aircraft is very, very nice. You can purchase a lot of liveries for this aircraft, but I think it's the pack is about $10 or so per pack. But it's absolutely worth it. And if you're into Boeings, this is a must-have. You have got to have this aircraft in your hangar. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 3D cockpit. As you can see, the 3D cockpit looks very, very nice, highly detailed again, very high resolution textures, and the quality that you'd normally expect from the guys at Flight Factor. Recently, this is the most recent version of the 777. It has received a facelift in terms of the interior model. So if you don't quite see it this way in your sim, then you probably need to update it to the latest version. Staying with Boeing and Flight Factor, the 757 is one of the most advanced aircrafts ever made for xplane. Again, the details of the 3D cockpit is absolutely breathtaking. It looks very, very realistic in terms of the textures, the overhead panel. Everything in this aircraft has been modeled with a lot of thought and attention to detail. The exterior model is just as nice as the interior model. As you can see, this looks like a real 757. It comes in different variations, so I've actually purchased all the variations, all the different, the 200, the 300, and I bought several livery packs to enjoy this beautiful aircraft. If you're a Boeing person, if you like Boeing, and if you like the old style, Boeing's, the 757 will be one of the aircrafts that you will really come to appreciate. Okay, folks. Now we are looking at xplane's most advanced airliner to date, and it's no other than the Boeing 767 by Flight Factor and Step to Sky. This aircraft is my absolute favorite aircraft in X-Plane to date. I've put in so many hours into this aircraft simply because it gives me the realism and immersion that I'm looking for. It comes in one version, which is the 767-300ER. It comes with quite a bit of liveries, but there are some packs that you can purchase for this aircraft. It's an absolute joy to fly. If you are thinking which of the 3 Boeings you should get, the 777, the 757, and the 767, you're on a tight budget, I would highly recommend that you get the Boeing 767. Let's go ahead and jump into the flight deck and take a look. As you can see, the flight deck again is modeled to perfection. It really makes you feel you're in a real 767 flight deck. So highly recommended. It's one of the best aircrafts made in terms of its visual appeal, but also in terms of the systems that it features. It is by far the most advanced aircraft for X-Plane today. Next up on the list, no other than the Mad Dog, the McDonnell Douglas MD80, which was recently released and developed by RotateSim. This aircraft has been anticipated by the flight simming community, and it's actually a highly detailed model in terms of its external model. At least the internal model I'm not too crazy about, but let me tell you, this aircraft is a real joy to fly. It's highly detailed in terms of its texturing, inside and outside. As you can see here, it looks like a beast, doesn't it? So let's go ahead and jump into the flight deck. As you can see, the flight deck is a little bit, I don't know, maybe a little bit cartoonish in some areas, but overall, this aircraft is a really joyful aircraft to fly. It's a lot of fun. If you like practicing landings, I think you will really appreciate this MD80. You know, with the crosswind landings and so forth, it really handles very well, and I think you will enjoy it very much. It's a little bit different, so it requires a bit of a learning curve to understand how to start it up. It's not the regular Boeing or Airbus way of doing things, but nevertheless, it is one of the strongest contenders in the payware market for X-Plane enthusiasts. Last but not least is the SSG Boeing 747-8I, developed by SSG. Now, this aircraft is the only available payware 747 for X-Plane. It has recently received an update, and it has received a facelift inside the 3D cockpit, which is the downside of this aircraft. The 3D cockpit is, in my opinion, the downside of this aircraft, which I think can be a lot more can be done with this aircraft to make it really one of my favorites. I do like flying the 747. You do feel that this aircraft is heavy when you take off, and you do feel the you know, how big this aircraft is as you make you know, turns and as you bank. So in terms of flying this aircraft, it can definitely give you a lot of fun flying it. But the downside is two things. The sounds on this aircraft is absolutely terrible. Okay, it sounds like a vacuum machine. And the virtual cockpit, 3D cockpit, is also, as you can see, pretty bad. Okay, I have seen some folks on the xplane.org website developing, custom textures for the 3D cockpit. But as it is out of the box, it looks absolutely terrible. That's one thing I really dread about this aircraft, and I think that it can be really one of the best planes for X-plane, but it does need work in terms of the texturing. So if you're a 747 fan, which I am, definitely this is a plane that you must have in your hangar. But be warned that you're not going to get the quality, for example, that you see in a flight factor produced paper aircraft. So, folks, we have now concluded our tour of the commercial airliners, and next up on the list, we are going to delve into the world of general aviation aircrafts. Moving from commercial jets to general aviation aircrafts, I realized that I have over 20 general aviation aircrafts in my hangar. So what I decided to do is to look at those aircrafts that I feel are must-haves for X-plane 10. And this brings us to the very first general aviation single-engine Cessna 172 developed by Airfoils Labs. This aircraft is one of my absolute favorites for X-plane. Not only does it have high-resolution textures and also a highly detailed 3D cockpit, the flight model is exquisite. It is very, very close to flying a real Cessna. So if you're practicing, your flying into the X-plane world, this aircraft will really immerse you in the simulation. Flying this aircraft is a real joy, and it really responds to the wind in a way that no other aircraft does in X-plane. It also features custom checklist, and then it's got some very nice features here. It's got quick start. You can auto start, cold and dark, and so on and so forth. It's got a very nice feature here, flashlight, for when you're in basically during nighttime. You can turn on the flashlight so you can see your knobs. As you can see, the 3D cockpit is modeled with great attention to detail. Everything looks very realistic in terms of the look and feel of this aircraft. Not only that, but also the sounds. It comes with complete custom sounds from everything from the engine flaps, the switches, the knobs. Everything sounds very, very realistic in this aircraft. So, if you are looking for a general aviation aircraft and you're not sure what to get, and if you like Cessnas, this is a must-have. You have got to have this aircraft in your hangar. Next up on the list is no other than the B1900 by Carenado. This aircraft is an all-time favorite. It is probably one of the very first aircrafts I got for X-plane after the 777. It's got high-resolution textures, and of course, it features the high-quality look and feel that you expect from Carenado. It's a very nice plane. It flies nice, it feels nice, and it actually sounds also very nice. Let's take a look at the 3D. As you can see, the 3D cockpit is absolutely gorgeous. I've compared pictures. This is something I do. That I always compare the pictures of the real aircraft to the one in the simulator. And let me tell you that this aircraft has been modeled to perfection. It looks extremely, extremely close to the real aircraft. And of course, it does have a custom sound set. Not all the sounds are custom in this aircraft. Some uses the default sounds of X-Plane, but nonetheless, as you can see, it's very, very well done in terms of look at the cabin. This is a Carenado quality, so you can expect really very high resolution textures all the way in the cabin and the cockpit, as well as the exterior model. So definitely the B1900 is a plane that you should have in your X-Plane 10 hangar. Staying with Carenado, the Cessna 337 Skymaster is an absolute masterpiece. If you like VFR flying, this aircraft is a must-have. It's a unique aircraft that's got two engines, one in the front and one in the back, and it's an absolute joy to fly. Again, it's the textures of this aircraft it's got 4K textures, and it really is a joy to fly. Let's take a look at the 3D cockpit, and the 3D cockpit is, of course, again, the quality that you expect from Carenado, very highly detailed, and everything here is modeled to perfections. Look at those leather seats. That's very nice. Okay, so this aircraft is a must-have in my opinion. I like to fly this aircraft mainly for VFR. Or when I'm doing some tests. It's actually very frame friendly, so you can probably push your settings up a notch if you're using this aircraft without really suffering any performance hit. A definite contender in the general aviation category. Staying with general aviation aircrafts, the Embraer 110 is an absolute heartbreaker for aviation enthusiasts. This aircraft is got high resolution textures, very detailed exterior and interior models, and it is an absolutely fantastic aircraft. It's got a lot of very nice features. You can basically, it's got an interactive walk around where you can remove the covers and the chokes and what have you. So I highly recommend this aircraft if you're into the general aviation twin engine aircrafts. This is an absolute must-have. Let's go ahead and jump into the 3D cockpit, and as you can see, the 3D cockpit looks very, very realistic, and it looks very, very close to the real aircraft as well, by comparison to real pictures that I've looked at. So this aircraft is basically another aircraft that I think you should have in your hangar. It's not easy to fly, this aircraft, so it will require a bit of a learning curve. Very easy on the frames. Again, it's actually built with performance in mind, so you can really enjoy this aircraft and its high resolution textures, even with settings that are probably on the high end. Highly recommended. Next up, the Twin Otter by RWDesign. This aircraft is an aircraft that I really like flying. It's a lot of fun to fly, and it really is a beautiful aircraft modeled by RWDesign. RWDesign, by the way, is the same company that developed the A330 Airbus, which in my opinion still falls short of being a real contender in the commercial airline, commercial jetliners category for X-plane. But this aircraft is an absolute marvel. Let's jump into the 3D cockpit. As you can see, the 3D cockpit looks something very similar to a Twin Otter. Again, very high resolution textures, great attention to detail, and this aircraft is a real fun to fly. So if you're into the the twin engine general aviation aircrafts, I think this is an absolute must-have, and it comes in different variations. So if you like the floater for sea landing, then this aircraft is going to tickle your heart. Highly recommended, and it's developed by RWDesign. And last but not least is my absolute favorite twin-engine general aviation aircraft for X-plane, which is the SAAB 340. This aircraft, I'm not sure why it hasn't received as much noise as many other aircrafts in the X-plane world, but this is one of the most detailed, most realistic aircraft, twin-engine aircraft for X-plane. It's got a very highly detailed model. Both the interior and exterior models have been modeled to perfection. It's an absolute joy to fly. It's got a custom set, and it's got an impressive cabin with windshields that you can basically close and open. You can even call the attendant. There is a button to call the attendant while you're in the cabin. So it gives you a lot of features, especially if you like making videos like myself. This aircraft is an absolute must-have for X-plane 10. The 3D cockpit of this aircraft, again, is very, very highly detailed. High-resolution textures, looks very, very realistic, and it's a lot of fun to fly this aircraft. Again, it requires a bit of a learning curve to get it started, and for this reason it comes with a custom checklist which you can basically start from within. I'm trying to look for it. There you go, the SAAB checklist, and you've got all your checklists here. Basically you can go through them one by one. If you select the preparatory check, and then you can basically view where the lights are. They should be off here, and then you tick, and you view the gear handle, and then you click on tick, and so on and so forth. It's really worth the money, in my opinion. This is a great aircraft that that you should have in your X-plane hangar. If you like, again, twin-engine aircrafts, I think this aircraft will really mean something to you, and it will really add to your experience in X-plane. If we go back to the cabin again, the cabin has been modeled with a lot of attention to details, and this is exactly what the SAAB, by the way, looks for. All these buttons are functional. Here, look at that. See. And then these buttons here, once the aircraft is actually powered up, all these buttons are actually functional as well. So a very nice aircraft altogether, and it's in my opinion, it's a must-have for X-plane 10 if you're into twin-engine aircrafts. It's developed by, I believe, X Scenery, and it's available on the X Aviation website, which of course the link to it will be provided in the comments section below. Folks, I hope that you've enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. It's been really tough creating this. I never expected it to be this difficult to make this part of the video, but it's been a lot of fun. I've rushed maybe some parts, and maybe I haven't done some parts to the level of detail that I would like to, but I was a bit pressed for time. I haven't been able to find a lot of free time to make these videos, but nevertheless I do consider it a priority in my schedule. So there you have it. I hope that you've enjoyed it. I hope that it has been useful. If you have any questions, of course they're always welcome, and until next time, please take care of yourselves and each other. I'll see you in part 3. Bye bye for now.